Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest. Ryker, we're a day removed from the NBA draft, and that was a wild night. You and I went live for the first 10 picks, and the Toronto Raptors seemingly shocked everybody, and shocked the reporters, shocked the fans, probably shocked a lot of people on the Toronto Raptors team by taking Scottie Barnes with the 4th overall pick, and you and I, we were quite excited when it happened. You can go back and watch the tape, but a lot of people in that chat, I think we had 700, 800 people at that point in the chat, were spamming L's, but a few people, it seems like on Reddit, have come around on this deal, but we're breaking down this video today on why this was the perfect pick for the Toronto Raptors in this year's NBA draft.
They were throwing out the L's at the time, but Ben, a lot of people are still not off of that train, and there's articles being posted. I won't name drop. It's a tight-knit community, the Raptors reporters, so you could probably infer who it is, but arguing that this is a bad pick, that, very singular focus, that we're not addressing the needs. I'm reading one that says we already have OG and Siakam as forwards, so we needed to focus on our point guard depth. That makes no sense because OG and Siakam are in the starting lineup. Where's the depth at the 3 position? This is a perfect fit. We'll go into it, but a lot of people are not convinced, Ben. So hopefully this video should enlighten those that are still not sold on passing up on Jalen Suggs, who really was the 4th man in what we were saying was a 4-person draft for a guy who less conventional, less polished, but could offer a lot more as a two-way player, Ben.
Yeah, well, Scottie Barnes, we'll squash the debate with Jalen Suggs to start it off, and then we'll dive into how Scottie Barnes could really translate to, that type of multi-time all-star MVP caliber player that he's been compared to by different people. Obviously, that's his ceiling. It could go horrifically wrong, but we'll talk about the future of him after. But the first debate we really have to settle is with Jalen Suggs, because people wanted Suggs. We made a video. Michael Grange came out, posted a tweet that essentially said we were selecting Suggs, and then I reacted to it. Now, if you go back to Michael Grange's Twitter, he deleted the tweet. He's deleting the evidence. We're not deleting our video, though. We'll embrace all the reports that we reacted to. And a lot of Raptors fans had their heart set on Suggs. And I get why. Obviously a guy that came in, he's like the Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet mold of a leader, a winner, a dog, a defender, and he can dunk a little bit. Lots of great things with Jalen Suggs. Cool stuff to be had there. But you compare him to Scottie Barnes, you watch the highlights, you watch the tapes, and there's a lot of things that Scottie Barnes does right now and has the potential to grow into that Jalen Suggs really doesn't have that opportunity to. And the first thing is just the raw athleticism, whether it be his size, whether it be his wingspan. And if you look at there's a metric, it's a bunch of analytics, you can look it up, but Scottie Barnes, according to this new advanced metric that they've been recording since the year 2000, Ryker, is apparently the 4th most athletic player ever drafted. Ahead of OG, ahead of Siakam on the Toronto Raptors, guys. So I'll have to pull up that stat in a video once we get called out on it. But this man is ridiculously long, and coming in as raw as he is, as question marks around skill level and all that, he's coming in as the best defender in this year's NBA draft, and arguably one of the probably upper echelon defenders in the NBA as a rookie. And that's something that you can't put a value on, because sure, everyone loves the sight of the offensive side of things. They want to see the guys that, score a bunch of buckets and do all these things, flashy plays like Suggs does, hitting game winners. But when you want to beat the Giannis Antetokounmpos of the world, the Kevin Durant's of the world, you need multiple long, wiry defenders, and Scottie Barnes is that. He's thick. People are comparing him to OG's body type, and pairing that along with the point guard skills that I'm sure you're about to dive into, Ryker, this is a guy that is a perfect mold for the Toronto Raptors, who want to compete in a really ramped up Eastern Conference right now, and then not to even to mention his future potential.
Yep. I'm going to call you back, and then I'm going to go on my spiel while I'm calling you back, because our audio, we've been having issues, but this is the point, is we're talking about how Scottie Barnes could be a better player, but to me, it's really all about positional needs. that's the argument, is you pick the best player available in the draft. But we already have Van Vliet locked in. We've paid him an amount of money that's going to confirm that he's the point guard of the future. We have Malachi Flynn, who's proven that he can be a backup point guard. We have Gary Trent Jr., who's going to be a lock at the starting shooting guard. So I don't get why we would put another point guard into the mix. Whereas at the small forward position, you have OG coming off the bench. Who do we have? Rodney Hood, Bembry, maybe Utah, right? There's a lot less depth at that 3-4 spot. So to bring in Scottie Barnes, it makes a lot more sense. So that's positional. I'm a lot more happy about it. I wasn't sold on Suggs from the very beginning because I was saying, yeah, he might be the best guy available at 4. You pick the best player available, but it still doesn't really make sense because we have a very guard-heavy team. So to pick a guy who can be a two-way player, you got to build up his offense a little bit, but you can perceivably play him at the 3 or the 4 spot. He's 6'9", 7'3", wingspan. He's athletic. He's a defender. All the points that you mentioned. One of the most athletic guys ever drafted in the NBA, right? That's going to transition a lot better than a guy who would literally be only able to play at that 1-2 spot. So there's a lot more flexibility, a lot more adaptability with Scottie Barnes. That's why I'm very pleased with this role. I don't think that Jalen Suggs or Scottie Barnes are going to be the guy that separates the Raptors from a bottom or low tier playoff team to a championship contender. That's going to be picking up a much better center in this offseason and figuring out the rest of the roster. It was never this rookie that's going to make us a championship team. So anybody that has illusions that Jalen Suggs would come in and be that guy, get us a chip, that wouldn't have happened. So we can put that bit to bed as well.
Yeah, and firstly, I don't know how smooth that audio transition was. I think it might have cut off there for a second, but we're all good here. But even for the people that argue that Jalen Suggs is more polished and we're a win-now team and all that, you brought up all the fit talk. Where's Jalen Suggs playing with Gary Trent Jr., Fred VanVleet, and even Malachi Flynn, who we've seen some of the people on Team Scottie Barnes saying how Malachi Flynn is better than Jalen Suggs. That might be a little bit of a reach, but who really knows at that point there? But then you dive into the raw potential of Scottie Barnes, and this is where you can get really excited. We've seen a few people talk about Barnes now, compare him to Draymond Green, Ben Simmons, right? Those guys, sure, they're all-stars, all-NBA players on their best days. Draymond Green's an NBA champion, a perfect complementary piece on a championship squad. But again, you want your first top 4 pick, your highest pick in 15 years. You want that guy that can drip in superstar potential. And honestly, even though those are the ceiling comparisons that a lot of people thrown out there, right? The jump shot, it's not broken. He doesn't have a horrific form like the Ben Simmons of the world or any of those types of guys. The handle, it's on another level compared to Draymond Green. You watch the highlights of this guy. He had one really fancy, I don't know if you've seen this, Riker, but a little behind the back dunk, right? It was Dwayne Wade-esque that he had. It's probably his biggest highlight in college basketball, but the handle's really strong. The passing ability, he's almost averaging, I think he might have averaged more assists than Jalen Suggs this year, under half the minutes. It was close. What do you have his assists? Do you have his numbers up?
He was 10, 4, and 4, and Suggs was probably 16, 5, and 5 or something like that. Suggs had him beat in every stat category.
Okay, they were relatively close in assists, but Scottie Barnes played half of the minutes. I appreciate the little fact check there. So it's, you look at all these things, and sure, right now, prospect Suggs, sure, it's probably going to be better 1 year, 2 year, but if you take into account fit...
Stop saying 2 year, Ben. That concerns me. If it's going to take 3 years to develop this guy, we're out of the timeline for VanVleet, Siakam, OG, I'm saying maybe. Contracts are all going to be up.
I'm saying maybe, right? Suggs might be better.
He's got to be ready to go in his second year.
Yes, I think he's ready to go. But I'm saying, even if you take the guys in a vacuum and you compare them there, fair enough, right? Like skill-wise and all that. But you look at the fit, you look at the defensive versatility he's going to add to this Toronto Raptors squad, and pair that alongside his already strong offensive skill set. That's right now the value. And then the potential to grow into a guy that, can surpass a Ben Simmons, a Draymond Green, into maybe a Giannis Antetokounmpo, who I've heard... Maybe, I forget the reporter that sort of used that analogy, right? That's the level of player you can get with these long wings. Bobby Webster came out and said that in today's NBA positionless basketball, these long long wings that can play 1 through 4. They're the perfect guys you want on the squad. Even 5 for Scottie Barnes. Sure, he's the size of Serge Ibaka, Riker. He can play the center, the small ball center. We really have desired on the squad.
Shut that down. He can't play center. He can't play center. But to have a guy who has experience playing D1 point guard means his ball handling is going to be there. We're not going to play him at point guard, but to be confident that your small forward, power forward is able to put it on the floor, get past people, be competent if he has to carry the ball up past the half court. I mean, that's an invaluable asset because there's a ton of tall guys in the league, but not everybody that you would trust to do a dribble move and get around their defender. So I'm pleased with that, Ben.
Yeah, certainly. And you're writing off the center talk. I'm going at you for the center talk.
No,
we're talking Ben Simmons at center. We're talking Ben Simmons at center. This guy could come in and play center. He could do that. That's 2 inches. That's 2 inches. Scottie Barnes is 2 thicker.
And probably 45 pounds. And here's the other thing. Ben Simmons didn't come into the league built either. So Scottie Barnes has a couple years in the weight room to go. Now, this is the one thing that I want to say, and this is not a criticism against Scottie Barnes, but unlike Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, low draft or undrafted guys, he's not going to have the benefit of having a couple years to develop in the G League and in that sort of deep bench spot because do you agree? This Raptors team is not good enough to have a 4th round or a 4th overall pick take a couple of years to get ready and be NBA ready. We only have limited amount of time with Pascal Siakam, with Fred VanVleet, right? With OG before their contracts lapse. There's no way we're keeping them all around until their careers are over. And let's face it, they need help. They need a supporting cast. So while I agree with what you're saying, Scottie Barnes, he's a bit of a project. We need to develop up that offensive side. I only want to give him a year. I don't want to let him off the hook because we still want, we tank for a reason. And we need to have a guy that can be productive on this team and bring the Raptors closer to winning a championship again. So for all the reasons that we mentioned, he has tremendous upside. I do hope that the things that we saw or heard from his one-on-one workout with the Raptors, that he's willing to work. He's willing to put in that effort. He's, showing that he's committed. Unlike Jalen Suggs, who maybe purposefully, maybe not, didn't have the best workout with the Toronto Raptors. It seems like they were sold on Scottie Barnes because he's willing to do those intangible things to get better. That's what also intrigues me about him because we can't have another Bruno Caboclo where it takes 4 years for him to maybe realize his potential. I want him to be ready the season after next, Ben.
Yeah, well, see, the point I was bringing up earlier is it might take him a couple years to come into that star role. But right now, he's already at that level where he can be a huge asset on the court purely off his defense, his dribbling, and his passing instincts, right? So maybe it's 1, 2, 3 years down the line where that jump shot really comes fully into form, and we could be talking maybe all-star games for Scottie Barnes, talking, all NBA teams, right? Because that's his ceiling. That's where he really can reach to. But I think already, right? Sure, already currently you might give an edge skill-wise to Suggs, but that's what I'm saying. Fit, athleticism, just defensive versatility, right? That's Scottie Barnes already has Suggs beat in those areas, and you can't teach height. And in a Raptors development staff, you take the risk on the guy with the higher ceiling. So that's Scottie Barnes right there. And I say he's playing 1 through 5, right? Ben Simmons, he's been in the rumor talks with the Toronto Raptors. After this Scottie Barnes pick, Riker, are you done with the Ben Simmons bandwagon? Because I am.
I was only comfortable to trade Lowry in 4 or Fred VanVleet in 4. That was really the only 2 moves. So if Lowry's as good as gone and we didn't draft Suggs, if you're trading Ben Simmons to come in at the 5, we have no point guards except for Malachi Flynn. Now, of course, you can maybe look at a guy like Colin Sexton, whatever, but now salary cap is going to become an issue. I'm good to move on from Ben Simmons, but I was good to move on when they asked for our entire team and thought that was reasonable. So that just egregious offense to us. I was like, let's pass away from Ben Simmons' nightmare.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. And I'm moving on. I'm saying Ben Simmons, it's over. It's done. The Damari Carroll Gold Star has been handed out to Daryl Morey. So he done. He missed the boat. He fumbled the bag with the Toronto Raptors because he could have gotten a great trade. But the Raptors, Masai Ujiri, he knows what he's doing. He's making the right picks. Jalen Suggs could have been a cool pickup, but Scottie Barnes, he was ingrained in our heads, Riker, but Scottie Barnes was a tremendous star pickup. What do you think his ceiling will be? Are we talking MVP? Are we talking All-Star team? Or what's his ceiling? What do you expect? What do you predict from Scottie Barnes?
Let's hope DPOY.
Okay.
Because if we're getting Draymond Green comparisons, that would be a tremendous fit. And let me conclude with this remark. This report that I'm reading says Suggs was supposed to fit in to Kyle Lowry's spot as the starting point guard. No. Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG, Siakam, and we figure out that 5 spot. Whether we drafted Suggs or Scottie Barnes, they were going to be our bench player into next season. So to have more depth at the forward spot, where really it was only Rodney Hood who he was non-guaranteed into this year. We're not going to pick up his contract. And Bembry, this is a tremendous improvement at that 3 spot, and he's a kind of a combo forward.
Don't sleep on Utah. Don't sleep on Utah.
See, I'm thinking Utah's more of a 4. I don't know if he's really a small forward. I think he's a bit too big. He's about 6'10", I believe. So, anyways, I don't know if they'll be jockeying for minutes. There's lots of time, but I love this pick. I'm sold. DPOY potential, Ben. I love it.
I don't know. I'm saying All-Star. I think he can be All-Star, DPOY, MVP. No?
You got to come in with more clout. Think about the guys that have won MVP. There's only been a handful. And except for Giannis, they've all come in with a lot of heat behind them. So
he'll get an MVP. I want to throw it out there so I can look back at this with the craziest of hot takes, but I know that's an extreme reach right now. But the Raptors fans, you were so sad to start it off. You were so sad in our live chats. You're mad at Riker and I for getting hyped for Scottie Barnes. So we wanted to make this video to validate, come with a more coherent take on our Scottie Barnes opinions, and it seems like a lot of people are coming around. So show this guy some love, show this guy some support, subscribe to Raptors Digest because we have a lot of crazy videos coming around. Free agency is just a few days around the corner. I think it starts Monday, Riker. So we got a lot of free agency news to break down here and on Courtside Digest. We gotta break down our 2 second-round picks who are showing that it looks like we got a couple steals there in the second round. Right, Lonzo Ball reports, Spencer Dinwiddie to give a little tease of stuff that could be coming the next couple days. But you're the best man as far. Check out the Instagram, the TikTok, all that cool stuff. Riker, any last words on Scottie Barnes, the future MVP?
Welcome. Cheers.